I believe what has changed in the UK is I think we've seen an unprecedented verdict in a case like George Floyd, the state versus Derek Chauvin, seeing a police officer actually convicted of murder, and a murder that was committed while he was in the line of duty. So that was an unprecedented verdict here in the USA.
It seems remarkable. I mean, I know there are concerns about what is happening here in the United Kingdom, but it still seems astounding to a lot of us. But when we look at the levels of division that have existed still in the United States, I mean, the murder of George Floyd, as tragic as it is, do you think it is going to be a catalyst for some sort of change?
You know, I've already seen it be a catalyst for change, and there needs to be a continual change, not only in the USA, but around the world. One of the things I've noticed about many of the viewers on some of my previous interviews is that, a lot of people want to default to narratives of hate and judgment. Everybody in the world saw what happened. Everybody saw Derek Chauvin commit that murder. But sometimes it seems that people of opposite opinion want to point to previous incidents where there's really no proof, there's really no video evidence. And we all can agree that it was a very hateful thing that happened to Mr. Floyd. And we don't need that in the USA. We don't need it in the UK. We don't need it anywhere in the world.
Why do you think it is that people do always, well, certainly a lot of the time, and I've seen it myself, they refer back to George's troubled history, if we can use those terms. Why do people refer back to that? Because I guess it doesn't matter how troubled he was or how much trouble he'd been in, it still obviously doesn't justify what happened to him.
Absolutely. There's no justification for that. And the jury in this case, they found it that to be the case. The gentleman was guilty. And listen, for the viewers also, this punishment was nothing about being against the police. This was not an anti-police verdict. It was an anti-Derek Chauvin verdict, because what he did was very heinous, very horrible. So the goal is of to God be the glory, really, in the memory of George Floyd, is to unite the people with police, so that there can be a harmonious existence and a better understanding between the two.
Yeah, I mean, how do you go about doing that? Because it's understandable. I know there've been long time divisions between some parts of the black community and the police in the United States, and exacerbated by things like this, of course. How do you go about bringing back a level of trust in the police amongst members of the black community?
Well, I appreciate that. With To God Be the Glory Sports, George Floyd being a member of To God Be the Glory Sports early in our existence, our goal is to unite the police and citizens from the community through sports programs. Right now, we're developing different sports programs that can get police officers, having recreational leagues, people from the different communities. And this way can break the ice and just establish a rapport of goodwill between the two groups, because we all need each other in society. The police needs the community to be supportive, and vice versa. We just need to reestablish that trust between the two.
And presumably part of that as well is, I mean, I know that there are plenty of black police officers in the United States, but it's about increasing that number, isn't it? Increasing representation, certainly in some key areas.
I think there are a number of issues that need to be addressed. I think that you hit the nail on the head earlier, when it's just the overall trust. I don't think it's a matter of race or gender. I think it's more so just a matter of establishing that trust between the police department and the community. I definitely think how the verdict ruled in this George Floyd case, it gave the public more confidence that police, they have to be on notice with their actions, and they just can't go about, doing things the way they want to do. They need to follow protocol, or they will be held accountable.
Cyril, we're almost out of time. I just wanted to ask you finally. I mean, obviously, you knew him as a boy and maybe later in life, I'm not sure, but how do you remember George?
You know, I'm always going to remember him as someone that wanted to help other people. I'll always remember him as someone that wanted to see anyone who had a chance to be a good sportsman to take full advantage of that opportunity